So you're probably going to get a, okay. All
And
right.
Professor, you said that this is going to be with the same group, correct? You're just going to add one more
That's correct.
member? Okay.
Yeah. You're going to have one more member as I split out group 5. And I'll send that out today. Okay, so are we good so far then? And then if we get through with this, and I don't know who asked me the question about could I put questions in there, but if we get through it and it's not enough, let me know and we'll see what we can do. But I think that plus if you watch this video again, it's probably going to be okay, but let me know. I'm always happy to help, okay? Whoever asked that question. Yes,
okay.
no?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yes,
Super.
thank you.
You bet. Okay, so some of the operational highlights, again, these are what are you doing? You know, what are your operational highlights? What exactly, and by the way, this is also in the back of your textbook, and it has a whole section, and I think I may have a PowerPoint about it. If I do, I'll go over that on Thursday. And it's got a whole section telling you also what goes in this. Okay, so the operational highlights are what are y'all doing? How are you doing it? You know, what exactly service are you providing? Now, intermediary concerns or issues are what is the problem with this company right now? You know, with you starting this company. And it could be anything like startup costs. It could be, you know, too much competition. It could be any kind of issue you think might propose a problem for you to start this company. And it's a very wide open space. Most of the time, you know, people say, okay, where am I going to get the startup funds? You know, or wow, you know, there's a lot of people doing this, but they're not doing it the way we're doing it. Anything really is okay as an answer there, as long as it's thought out. Now, your management team overview. In this area, you're just going to put you're not going to have to list names or anything like that. You're just going to put who is the main management team, which would be like your CEO. Maybe your CEO is also your CFO because it's a small company. You know, maybe you're going to have one person at first running the whole company because it's only maybe a 2-person team. But that's what you're going to put in there. Who are the people that are going to be the primary people running the company? What are their positions? The financial highlights are basically what this is highlighted from what we're going to see down the way. So don't get real concerned about this executive summary. Don't start panicking yet, because once we get through the whole thing, you know, and you see that all you're going to be doing is summarizing what you've already done. But the financial highlights basically are how much money do you project you're going to make? What are you going to spend? You know, what basically the main types of money involve money. And then your number 10 is what kind of unique concerns you have. Well, you know, a unique concern might be privacy, you know, for the type, let's say you're going to be a cosmetic surgery, plastic surgery, and maybe you're going to specialize in people who don't want others to know that they're having the plastic surgery done. How are you going to maintain their privacy? How are you going to keep the paparazzi out? How are you going to, you know, those kind of concerns? And you don't have to have an answer to that solution here. You just have to say, these are some of the things that we're concerned about. Okay, we good so far?
Yes, we are.
Okay, super. Now, this is where we get into the meat of it. Your company profile. What type of organization are you? Are you a hospital? Are you a, you know, a pharmaceutical company? Are you, let's see, you know, a lab? You know, what type of organization are you? And then what is the name of your organization? Think about this. Be creative about the name of your organization. Remember that the name needs to say what you are. You know, if you have a name like, let's say that you're a plastic surgery and you're going to call yourself Juliana's, you know, or something like that. That doesn't tell anybody what kind of organization you are. So instead, you might, let's say you're going to have lab work, you might say Harjeet's quick turnaround lab work or something like that. You know, you need to have, or a name like Beautiful Today, and then maybe specializing in plastic cosmetic surgery or something like that. So be sure that your name tells what you are so that it makes sense to someone. Your hours of operation. Oftentimes your hours of operation can be a real differential factor. It can make a difference on whether you make it or break it. Now let me give you an example of that. In Tampa, and maybe here too, but I'm more familiar in Tampa because I haul my grandkids to places, to doctor's offices and stuff all the time. But in Tampa, they have a pediatric clinic that is only open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And their hours on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are like 8 to 5 or 8 to 6. One day, I think maybe Thursday, they're like 5 to 10 or something. But they have these hours that accommodate parents who work. That differentiates them from your typical pediatric clinic that's open 8 to 5, which is often very difficult for parents who work and for kids in school. So, your hours of operation can make a huge difference on how your company survives. Oh, another company that I've had a couple people do were the oxygen, where you go and breathe that oxygen, those oxygen bars. Okay, so now the scope of the services, that's what services are offered. Now, on a lot of these places, I put a link, and that link shows you examples. So this one's got the link also on the example of a scope of a service line. What things are offered in your business? And you can look at that link and see examples of it. Okay, then clients served, who are you serving? This is your target market, basically. These are the people who, that are going to be your primary patients or your primary clients or the people who are going to use your services. So for instance, if you were opening up a cardiac clinic, your primary clients probably would not be teenagers. Now, you would have the outliers, there would be, maybe 1 or 2 or just a very small number of teenagers, but your primary clients served would be probably in the age group 50 and above. So you're looking at this is letting people know who are you mainly targeting. Now, location of clinics. This is where it gets a little bit more research involved. Most of you will only have one, whatever it is, one clinic, one office, one van, whatever it happens to be. But you can't just put Laguna. You have to put an address, and you have to find a building that is available. You can do that on Willow. You can do it on Century 21. You can do it on any of these sites that show availability of the real estate out there. And you're going to have a specific address. And then as we get down the line, you're going to need information on that specific address. How much is the building? How much is it per rent? What is the typical electrical bill? What is the typical gas bill if it has gas? Those kinds of things you'll have to have further down when we get more into the location. But you need a real address, and you need to be able to get real information. Zillow typically gives most of that information, but if you're unable to find it, then you can call the electric company or any of those and just ask them, what is the typical electric bill cost for this location? And if you can't find that out, then find out how much it is per square foot, or however they typically charge for electricity and gas. All this stuff it sounds like a lot, but it's not difficult. It's just that I want you to see just what it takes, what goes into creating your own business. Because once you get through with this business proposal, this is the kind of thing that you could go straight to a bank with and say, I want to start this business. This is the kind of stuff that they're looking for. Okay, the description of your business, you're going to go into detail on what it is that your business is and what you're going to be providing. Now, are you profit or nonprofit? It's a very simple answer. You don't have to explain it. You just put down that you're for profit or you're nonprofit. Remember that that is basically an IRS designation, profit and nonprofit. Here's the thing. The difference between a business that is nonprofit or for-profit is what happens to the money that's left over. A nonprofit business does not give money to shareholders or to anyone that put money into the business. The nonprofit business, the money goes right back into the business, or it goes into some sort of savings. It goes somewhere that is fed directly back into the business. For profit, at the end of the year, that money gets divvied out among your investors. So think about what you're going to be. Most hospitals are nonprofit, not all, but most. Most of your plastic surgery clinics are nonprofit. They make, or profit. I'm sorry, or profit. They make a lot of money and they put it right back in their pockets, except what they need for, running the business. Now, remember, a nonprofit business does not mean it doesn't make money. All it means is what's going to happen to the money that you have left over at the end of the year. Because clearly, if they didn't make money, then they wouldn't be able to survive. You wouldn't be able to buy new equipment. You wouldn't be able to pay good salaries. You wouldn't be able to do any of those things if you made no profit. So people sometimes mistakenly think nonprofit means you make no money. Well, think about this. If you were graduating this semester and a nonprofit company came and said, we want to hire you. We think you're wonderful, but we can't pay you because we're nonprofit. How many of you would actually take that job? Right? I can't see y'all, but I'm guessing none. Right? So remember, the difference is what happens to the money that's left over at the end. Okay, then as we go on down, these give you articles that will give you examples. All of these are examples. What are the social changes that might affect your business? And social changes can be any number of things. Social changes could be what happened as a result of COVID. Social changes could be the way people think about things. If you were to look at movies from before probably your parents were born, like in the 40s or 50s, if you look at the way movie stars looked, the heartthrobs of the day, they don't look like the heartthrobs today look. They had pretty faces, your women like Marilyn Monroe had the hourglass figures, but not a single one of them had probably ever seen the inside of a gym, or even if they had gyms in those days, because that's not what society was looking at. Society was looking at, the aesthetically this person's looks or the way they were. Whereas in today's world, if you look at the movie stars that are very popular, they're all very buff, So it's changes in the way people look at things. It's so what social changes are happening that might affect your business? And there's examples on this when you go to this link. Economic reimbursement changes. Hospitals are the most controlled environment there is. Money is hospital and medical care. It's controlled by the city. Well, first the board of directors, then the city, then the county, then the state, then the federal government. There's, if you're using Medicare or Medicaid, those reimbursement changes happen on a daily basis. So how can this affect your billing? How can this affect your company? If you are a strictly, like for instance, you're a cosmetic surgery and you take little to no insurance, you may have a few cases where reconstructive surgery, but let's say you're primarily cosmetic surgery, then you have to think about this, because some people do have insurance that pays, but for the most part, you don't have to worry about Medicaid, Medicare, all the federal payments. Demographic changes. That's what's happening around you. Let's look at the hospitals in downtown LA 50 years ago. That was when all the movie stars and directors and everybody actually, lived in Hollywood before they started fleeing to the mountains. You had a very high-end clientele. There's still a few pocket areas like that, but for the most part, you don't have that same high-end clientele in downtown. So the demographic changes are, can this hospital that has been in the downtown area still offer some of the same services like the cosmetic surgery, or like other types of services that, you know, even well care type to the typical person? Or should they look around and say, what happened to our demographic area? We have a lot of these big, beautiful homes have been turned into multi-living facilities, you know? So you have people that are, you know, living paycheck to paycheck, or you have a lot of homeless in Hollywood area. So what type of services should you be offering now? So look at the demographic changes. Same thing happens if you're out somewhere and you're in an area where a lot of small family homes are, and then all of a sudden some industry decides that they want your area, you know, so they come in and they buy out all the apartment complexes and all the small family homes, and now all of a sudden you're industrial area. How does that change what services you offer? So you need to look at the demographic changes around you. And again, there's examples there. Healthcare delivery changes. You know, nothing has changed that more than COVID. You know, so many people now, and people your age, y'all want to have things done on the computer. You don't want to get in your car and go to a doctor's office and sit for 2 hours. You would rather be doing a lot of other stuff until they bing you up and say, okay, it's your turn. You know, let me look at your throat, or whatever it happens to be. Healthcare delivery changes. How are they affecting the business that you have? And again, there's examples here, and you can find more examples of any of these things by just typing into Google demographic changes and healthcare, you know, those kind of things. And you can find a ton of examples to help you see how it affects your company. Again, regulatory political changes. This healthcare is one of the most regulated companies or businesses that there is. It just is. You are regulated by everybody. And, you know, and political changes make a huge difference. Every time the government changes from Republican to Democrat, or from whatever it happens to be, you're going to have political changes that are going to involve healthcare. Now, key factors in your segment of the industry. Again, this is an example. What are the key factors for success for the company that you are trying to start? And so this gives you examples, this link. And again, you can look it up on Google. You can say key success factors for a cosmetic surgery, or whatever it happens to be. And you can find examples, and then you can see how that fits into your business. Okay, now this one, barriers to entry and barriers to exit. What could stop you from being able to get into the business? Now, there's a lot of things that can stop you from. One of them is money. You know, do you have the financial substance to get into the business that you're trying to get into? Let's say you want to have a mobile scanning unit. Do you have the money or the ability to borrow the money to purchase that mobile vehicle, and then to outfit it the way it needs to be outfitted? You need to look, and you'll have to look at all the things. If you're going to do something like that, it sounds, oh, that's easier. Well, it's not really, because you have to look into all the different ways you have to accommodate. That vehicle has to accommodate your different kinds. How are you going to, I'm blanking on the word. How are you going to fix that vehicle where it can do everything you want it to do? Then where are you going to park that vehicle at night? You know, where are you going to have your main business operating out of? So you still need a building of some sort, at least a place you can receive messages and phone calls and stuff. But barriers to entry can be money. They can be too much competition. They can be regulations. You know, regulations can just bury you. Those are just a few of the examples. Barriers to exit can be things like, all right, you have a 2-year lease on a building and you've only been in it a year. How are you going to buy out that lease? They're not going to just say, give you the golden handshake and say, okay, it's fine, no problem. You know, we'll just rent to somebody else. What about equipment leases? In the hospitalization area, one of the main things is, what about the patients? What's going to happen to the patients that are in your current care? You have to find a place for them. You've taken money from insurance companies, from the government, from whoever it happens to be, and you can't just say, well, we're shutting the doors. There are barriers to exit that you have to look at for your particular industry. Okay, how are we doing so far? Any questions? I know I'm going through it pretty fast, but we'll have time Thursday for y'all to look at it and ask me questions. Anybody? Questions?
No
Professor?
questions. I'm just trying to take it in.
Okay, I know I'm going a little fast, but we're going to have time. There's only 2 things on Thursday, so we're going to spend time again going and looking at this again. I want to be sure that no one is stressed out about this. It is a lot of work, yes, but it is not difficult. It's just that it takes time because you have to find these things. And always remember, whether you see me in person or not, I am on the other end of a phone line. And if I don't answer you immediately, or I don't send an respond immediately, you just need to send it again or try a different method, because something's probably either going on with my phone. Like the other day, I was in Salt Lake City and neither one of my phones worked. It did not work. They just didn't work. And so, I don't know what's going on, but you can always find me one way or the other, and I will get back to you fairly quickly. Okay, so the service overview. So what is unique about what you're providing? Let's say you're doing the cosmetic surgery in, in the Laguna. What is unique? How can you make it different and more unique than some of the other? Well, the only way you're going to find out is if you evaluate your competition. And what can you do to make it better? Let's say, for instance, that you're going to offer a private limo and a private entrance to pick up people who are particularly concerned about, their privacy. Or maybe you're going to offer, well, I can think of one example. I may have told this class this before, but when my daughter was looking for a hospital to have her baby at, one of the hospitals offered candlelight dinner after you had the baby, and it was catered by a local, pretty nice restaurant. So that made that particular hospital pretty unique, because everybody else all the other hospitals just gave you your standard hospital food, So what makes your particular business unique? And it can be any number of things, but think outside the box. Why would you want to use your business over somebody else's? Okay, and what value do you provide to your key target markets? Again, why would those target markets want to use you? What makes you better than your competitor? And the benefits of the new service proposal, how is it, again, what is the benefit that you offer that maybe your competitor doesn't? How does it benefit your client? Then how are you positioned against the existing services? This is, again, your competitor. How well can you come into this market and get your market share? How are you positioned? Like maybe the competitor doesn't have the same quality of doctors. Maybe you've got an expert doctor from, that's well-known, well-published. Maybe you have a newer building. What makes your position better? What makes you better than the existing services as you're coming into the business? And what are you doing differently? There's a lot of different things you can do differently that can set you aside from the other people. Maybe you have longer hours, maybe you have an on-call nurse 24 hours a day. What are you doing differently that sets you apart from the competition, that would make people want to come to you instead? Now, this one, the competitive analysis, you have to choose a real company that's out there on the web, or wherever, that would be your competition. Now, preferably it would be in the area, but if you're doing something really novel and that isn't even offered in the LA area anymore, then you'd have to use your competition you'd have to find a competitive company from somewhere a little further out. But what do they offer? Just talk about what they offer. What are their services? What makes them different from the others, and what makes them different from you? And this could be, you know, this should be good, you know, what is their point of differentiation but makes them different. But when you come in with your stuff later on, then maybe you can top what they're doing, whatever their point of differentiation is. And what real value do they deliver to the customer that others do not? What do they do as you look at it for the customer that the customer can't get somewhere else? And this could be, maybe they offer better prices, you know, maybe they offer better care, better facility, better follow-up. What real value did they deliver to the customer? Then this is the one that's a little bit more difficult. What is their customer profile? And you can get that from looking at their website. You know, is their typical customer age 25 to 40, upper middle class, working adult, or you know, what is their typical customer profile? Now, this detail the pricing strategy. A lot of places, you know, we have transparency. So maybe they don't have their pricing strategy on the website, but you can call them, you can get a brochure, you can, you know, whatever it takes to find out what their typical prices are. You can even call and just ask them, like, what is the cost of, you know, a facelift, and, you know, or whatever it happens to be, and they'll give you a whole lot of different answers, I'm sure. But you know, tell them that you would like a detailed accounting or a detailed price list. Most of them will provide it to you because they simply cannot be transparent with it, and would not be transparent. And how do they advertise? You know, a lot of these companies that have been around forever just have word of mouth, you know, or they have websites, but, you know, maybe they have Twitter, maybe they have YouTube channels, maybe they have billboards. How are they advertising their company? And then why do customers use them? What would make a customer use this particular company? Well, if you look at the website and you see these fantastic reviews, you might say, you know, and maybe they'll say this, I was referred here by my neighbor and I'm so glad I came, or I was referred here by my neighbor. I don't know what they were thinking, you know, whatever it happens to be. How do customers, why did they choose to use them? Now, we did a SWOT activity before, so you know about opportunities and threats. So what are your opportunities as far as what this company does or doesn't do, and how are they a threat to your company? Okay, that took us through that. It's now almost 9:15, so we'll start up here on page 3 on Thursday. Plus, if y'all look at all this and have questions for me, I will be ready to answer them. And if I can't give you a quick right away answer, because I need to do a little research on it, because some of these questions y'all come up with are really good and some I haven't had before, then I will be sure I get all those answers to y'all before y'all actually get started on this. Now, I'm going to quit sharing. I'm going to look at y'all and I'm going to say to you, is everybody okay with this? Or, I mean, like, do you know, I told y'all that this is a stress-free zone. So, you know, do not get stressed out. We still have more to go over it. And I'm always here to help you. Are we okay? Show of hands.
I just have a really quick question.
Sure, Julia.
So, I know I can't speak for everyone, but I did notice that a lot of these for this project, I think a lot of the areas, they're all due on the same day. And I know I was looking at everything else I have due for the rest of the year, and I started noticing some of my other due dates in different classes are kind of overlapping and whatnot. So I just wanted to ask, like, are you willing to extend due dates for this project, or are these due dates final?
Okay. I did cancel, you know, one of the classes, so y'all would have time to work on it, you know, the week before Thanksgiving, which gives y'all some extra time there. The reason that the due dates, this is kind of a hard one to answer. The reason that the due dates are where they are is because I have to have time to respond to your proposal. And it takes me a couple of hours for each one in order to get it back to you fast enough so you can get the proposal in. So I pushed that due date about as far as I can go and still give myself time to grade it and get it back to you. that answer your question? Julia?
Yes, I'm just I'm trying to find where when the proposals due. Because I was kind of looking at just
I think
everything
it's
that's
due
due
the
on
week of,
November.
isn't it due Thanksgiving the Thursday before, I mean, the Sunday before Thanksgiving week? Or is it the due, I may have pushed it to after Thanksgiving. Let me see.
I might have just forgot to write it down, but I know like we have like we have 7 things due. Sunday, November 21st.
Okay, let me look at I'm pulling up the syllabus right now and I can tell you.
It looks like the proposal, you say that it's due on November 3rd.
November
Okay.
3rd.
Yeah,
Right, Julia, right above where it says November 21st when we have the PowerPoint due.
Oh yeah, group project.
Right.
okay, so I'm pulling it up now and, because I honestly, and I'll see what I can do, but I usually push those dates as much as I can because I don't want y'all to be stressed. Okay, so as I'm looking at it, the reason that all those parts are due at the same time is because they're all part of the same project. I just have them submitted separate. They're not like really individual. They're just all part of the same project. But
Okay.
I grade them separate, so I have y'all submit them in separate places on the Dropbox. Okay, so the group project proposal is due 11/3, and then the PowerPoints are due 11/21. And I gave y'all off, let me look at the calendar. And I gave y'all 11/16 off. So y'all have which originally was supposed to be class. So y'all have that extra day to work on the project, all those parts. But like I said, all that is actually just part of this main project. I just have you upload them separately. And when we go over that later, you'll see more about that. And so I really can't push the proposal due date past the 3rd, because I have to get it back to you so you can get, well, you know what? Would it help if I pushed it to the 7th for the
Yeah, that would be
proposal?
helpful.
Okay. All right. We'll push it to the 7th. And then that will give y'all, I'll try to get it back to y'all, but this is what'll happen is I'll try to get it back to you, by the end of the week, by the 14th, but then that gives y'all only a week to put together the rest of make all the changes and put together the proposal. The final project. So I don't know if that's enough time for y'all or not.
Okay. No, I actually, yeah. So I think it might work better if it was due on the 3rd. But I was just wondering about like the stuff due on the 21st, because I know we have a magazine ad sketch and then we have 2 chapter quizzes.
Okay, let me look at that.
That was my only other concern, just because we have additional assignments due that day
Okay.
besides the final project.
That's Thanksgiving week, right? 21st. I think it is. The first presentation will be the 30th. She'll be presenting on the 30th and the 2nd and the 7th, I think. Okay, since we lessened that group to 4 from 5, I will push those due dates to the 28th. That's the end of Thanksgiving week. Is that okay? Does that work better?
Yeah. So the 2 quizzes and the magazine ad sketch.
I'll put everything for the proposal. Everything for the project, the 28th. The quizzes can stay the same.
Okay.
But everything that all the PowerPoint, PowerPoint, the magazine, all that stuff, I'll push a week out to the 28th.
Okay. Sounds
That
good.
make y'all feel better?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you,
Okay.
Professor.
Sure, I will go in and fix that and send y'all an updated syllabus. Let me make myself a note so I don't promptly forget. Okay, all right. Let me close this so I can see y'all again. Maybe. Okay, we're a little bit past time. Do I have any other questions?
No questions, Professor.
Okay, super. All right, then, Julia, you're gonna stay after class, right?
Yeah, just for a few
Okay.
minutes.
Okay, super. All right, so, if there's no other questions, then I will see y'all. Remember, we have class on Thursday, and I will see y'all on Thursday. Have a great week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Have a nice
I
day.
actually have a question about the social media group handout.
Okay, Brenda.
So for on the syllabus, it says we have to comment on all of the handouts. Was that only for like the brochure handouts, or do we also have to comment on the PowerPoint discussion board?
No, you're gonna go, on the, I meant to say something about that in class and I forgot. You're going to go on to Beachboard
Yes,
and look at the handouts and comment on those.
just the discussion board for the handout itself.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Oh, okay, thank you, Professor.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
I had another question before, but I forgot. So
Oh, well, Brenda, if you remember, just text me or email me or something, okay?
okay, sounds good. Thank you, Professor.
You're welcome.
Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Okay, Julia, we are alone. How can I help you?
I just noticed that on my advertisement paper that I had gotten marked a little bit for references. I think your comment was like, I just need to work on APA format. So
Let me
yeah,
pull it up.
yeah.
Let me pull it up and see, because I thought I marked it on the paper itself.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, okay, okay.
There was just one where you made a comment about not capitalizing or something like that, but my letter wasn't capitalized, so I was confused.
Okay, let me look, because I was doing some of these at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hold on just a second. Let me pull it
Okay.
up. All right. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you.
Okay.
Okay, so all right, here you needed to have a title up here.
Okay.
Okay, APA pages have titles, papers have titles. On this one, you have a quote, and this was not from your ad, as far as I could tell. So you need to have, anytime you have quotes, you have to have a page or paragraph number. And if it's a video, you need a timestamp.
Yeah, that's what's her my professor. I also have Professor Pearly for one of my classes, which I think it's funny because I think
she and I are the scourge of APA.
yeah. I feel like you guys are like the dynamic duo when it comes to APA. So I actually made the same mistake in another paper that I turned in, and she told me that when it's a direct quote, you have to put the paragraph or page, but when it's a paraphrase, so basically without quotations, that type of reference is fine.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And let's see, what else did I have here? Same thing, same situation here. And I know that it's from Berkowitz, so for sure it's a page number that should have been there.
Yeah.
Okay, then
And then I think it was this one. Yeah. It says do not cap all words in titles.
okay, see this one right here, that's capped.
Oh,
Oh, wait a minute, that's right after N. So that's, you know what? You're
I'm so
right,
confused.
except
Okay.
that this is incorrect here. You don't write it out. It's like a 5 and a TH. And you don't actually put any of this stuff in a reference. All you put, like, you don't put, you'd have 5th edition, but it would be like that.
Okay.
Okay. um, and as opposed to writing it out. And you don't put page numbers in the reference typically.
You don't?
Mm-mm. Not in the reference, only in the text.
Okay.
And if you see somewhere that it's like that, let me know, because some things did change in 7th, but what you really would have, the best way for you to reference this is to just not even put chapter 2, because in the reference list, because it's the whole book, it's not like an edited book. This
Mhm.
is it's not an edited book. So you would just put the title of the book here, not have any of this in essentials, because that you're talking about our textbook, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You would not put it, because it's not, the only time you put in something is if it's an edited book where you have different authors for each chapter. So the way you would cite this would just be the way it's cited in the syllabus, just the textbook.
Okay. Sounds
You
good.
sure?
I
You all right with
wouldn't,
it?
I don't know. I just get confused with APA. So
I'm telling you, it's something that I think I told the class, I burned my APA book when I got out of graduate school, and then I had to buy another one. So
it's just, there's so much to keep track of.
yeah, anytime you use in, that's because the book is edited and it's got that each of the chapters is written by separate authors. And so, you're talking about that it's in this book, but because this whole book was written by Berkowitz, all you do is cite the book.
So I just need basically his name, the year, the title of the book,
And the publisher.
5th ed, no page number, and then the publisher.
Correct.
Okay.
And if you can just copy paste it from the syllabus and you'll get it right.
Okay. I will do that next time. And then
Okay.
really quick, I noticed our group business contract is due 17th, so this Sunday. Last time, I know it helped when we all met on Zoom and we all did the contract together. So I was maybe hoping
I can give you time
Thursday.
Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because I was
I'll
like,
try to.
it might be a little bit last minute because we're adding in the new team member and whatnot. And I was like, I don't know if some of our girl we're all girls, so I don't know if some of the girls are going to be able to meet like any time between then.
Right. Yeah, I will send that out. I'll send out your new team today, and I will be sure I give y'all. Well, I don't know, because we're going to have to go over the rest of the. Here's what I'll do. I'll give y'all time. If we don't go over the rest of the proposal, we'll finish the proposal. Do we meet the next? I can't remember if the next Tuesday is a class meeting or not.
It's so actually next week. You canceled both classes.
I canceled them?
Or like not canceled, but we're not meeting up. You're not.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Well, what we'll do is if in fact, we don't have time to do that and let y'all meet, then I'll have a voluntary meeting next Tuesday, and I won't require people to come. But if you want me to go over the rest of our proposal, then you can come.
Okay. And then in your past experience, I don't know if you would have any say on this, but does it help when groups basically assign one section to each person, or do people have to double up?
Well, you have a lot of people in your group. So, normally my groups are about 5, but because of what happened this semester with a bunch of people, like 2, actually, I think 3 dropped. And and they all came out of the same group. I couldn't believe it. So typically, sometimes you do have to double up a little bit, but I don't think that this class will have to do that. I think that if you assign sections now, some of the sections do overlap. Let's say, for instance, when you're talking about where your business is going to be located, and you have to have once you find it out, then someone has to do a graphic of the, like a floor plan, and and you have to find out about the cost of the different electric company and stuff like that. So that might be a lot of work for one person, and maybe you have one person that's doing all the graphics. Maybe they're doing the floor plan because they're really good with CAD. Maybe they're doing also the flow charts, all those things. So sometimes there is overlap, but it kind of depends on how well the group works together.
Okay, so basically the business proposal, that is only what we talked about today, right?
So far,
So, well, like, and then whatever's rest on the page.
that's correct. And it's going to include, the proposal will, I may not make you, I can't remember if I require it to be in it when you turn the proposal in, but it's all part of the bigger picture, like the floor plan and the flow chart. And, all that's part of the bigger picture, but I may not require that to be ready until the end, but you have to take that in consideration when you're assigning tasks.
Okay, yeah. I'll probably have more questions on Thursday.
Okay. I'm happy to
Sorry.
answer them.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, but it's a huge amount of points. And, if you do a good job on it, it can boost you from one grade to another,
Okay, yeah. Thank you. I'll have more questions when we're creating our contract.
Okay. Sounds good. I'll be around.
Thank you. And
All
you're
right.
still recording, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Okay. I'm glad we
Yeah,
didn't say
so-
anything.
I just realized that you're still recording.
I'm so bad about that. I'm bad about starting and I'm bad about stopping it.